Welcome again, everybody. You are locked in a cold, dark, impenetrable dungeon with the choice of a baseball bat or a box of matches. Which would you choose to get you out of that situation? Listen to my speech, and you may find the answer at the end. In 1672, John Milton, in The Art of Logic, said, "Of all the arts, the first and most general is logic, since you can have speech with reason, but you cannot have reason without speech." Tonight, let's look at how logic and reason, working in harmony, influence our choices. But before we do, let's look at what logic and reason actually is. Now, Wikipedia defines logic as both the study and the use of valid reasoning. It studies and compares the validity of both, and it is one of the ways by which it studies and compares both in a fit manner, in a formal, intellectual, and theoretical manner. Reason is defined as the capacity of making sense of things. Reason, like habit or intuition, is one of the ways by which thinking comes from one idea to another idea. Now, let's look at 3 examples and see how we can grasp the connection between logic and reason. The first example is called the Mustang. Logic tells Eustace that he should buy the dream car of his choice because he has worked hard all his life. He's longing for this Mustang, this Ford Mustang, the GT350, the best car that he can ever dream of, with turbocharged engine that can take him from 0 to 60 miles in 2.95 seconds. Now, for him, that's the logical choice. There's no other car like the Mustang. But reason, his wife tells him, "Eustace, we are recently married. We have children coming along the way. Why not buy a van, those 6-seater vans, that is road safety, and it can accommodate extra seats for children. We can expand beyond 6. Now, Eustace listens to that voice of reason, and though he can't really appreciate that logic, he ends up sacrificing his wants for their needs so as to maintain harmony in the home. Let's look at the second example. This is an illustration of what happened many years ago. And the second example is called the baby. It so happened that hundreds, thousands of years ago, 2 women were fighting and laid claim to the same baby. So they petitioned the king to decide who the baby should be for. The wise king listened to them, and after hearing their story, used logic and said, "We will divide this child in half, and each of you will get your portion." One woman was ecstatic. Yes, she saw that reason. The other woman could not see any logic behind that, and there's no reason to harm the child. So she sacrificed and gave up her wants. The wise king saw that now we have a decision. I know exactly who is the mother of the child, and just decision was made. In our third example, we look at a trial that happened a few years ago. This famous American athlete is on trial, charged for the murder of his wife and a friend. The situation is getting grim. The case is winding down. Then, his wise lawyer calls for one piece of evidence that the jury had introduced, that the prosecution had introduced before. He calls for the glove. "Put it on," he tells his client. The client tries to put on the glove, but it cannot fit. It's too small. The wise lawyer turned to the jury and said, "If it cannot fit, then you must acquit." The lawyer used logic and reason. to get his client safe. Such is the prowess of logic and reason. In looking at these 3 points, the Mustang, the baby, and the glove, I have illustrated how, by using logic, the decision process can work. But we cannot have just logic, for a mind all logic is like a knife all blade. Nor can we do without reason, for he who will not reason is a bigot, and he who cannot is a fool, and he who fears not to reason is a slave. That is why I say to you, and I want to leave you today with this, that whenever you face a decision and you have to make a choice, use both logic and reason. Measure and apply, and you will reach the most harmonious decision you possibly can.